welcome to Provisionally Approved, the show where we do not discuss the Star Wars spoilers. I'm Mike Gorrie, and hashtag Gorrie Fact, two teaspoons of Gorrie is 50% of your recommended daily intake of vitamin A. It's also 5 times the LD50 of cyanide. Sitting with me tonight is...
Jess.
Karen.
Jack.
All right, so, well, we've all been on the show before, so I can't really, introductions aren't going to be a thing.
That's true,
but
yeah.
what's been happening over the last few months in provisionally approved land? Well,
Oh, well, yes. Well, I don't know. Not much. It's been. I think it's been pretty quiet for all of us.
Well, I haven't been on for like 6, 7 episodes.
Really? Oh, dude.
So, who are you? Where have you come from?
Oh, filled in the empty space that you left.
Jess did. You did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
I haven't been watching for a few episodes, so I don't know what's happening.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to do a massive catch-up really soon.
Oh yeah, get on it.
yeah, we'll have like a previously unprovisionally approved segment like right before the episode starts.
yeah.
There we go.
It's
That's
just
it.
where all the dramatic moments from the last few weeks, they're going to be relevant to tonight. We catch up on all those moments.
That would be good.
Occasionally
Yes.
have ADR over the top of scenes that we filmed in advance, just to set up things that we didn't set up properly before.
Everything in sepia tone, like dramatic violins in the background.
Yeah, a little
and-
bit grainy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have all had like a quiet summer, I take it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we've been basically finishing off the Ascenders, which is
Yeah. It's like our second last major production meeting, right?
well, if production, yeah, pretty soon it'll be post-production meetings.
Yeah.
So we hope. But yeah, like we've literally got 2 more shoots to go
Nice.
before we've finished. Well, assuming nothing goes horribly wrong, because it always does.
I think that's jinxing it a little.
What are the shoots?
What other shoots? There's. I don't know. But spoilers.
Oh,
Hello.
okay.
whoa.
Well,
Yeah.
We
what
don't
kind of
dis-
locations
When-
are they?
Do not
this.
do that. We already made that pun.
Yeah, we've.
That's all right. We can make them. Let's overdo it today.
Yeah. I'll come up with some better ones.
Do not be
later.
discouraged. Well, let's just keep doing
okay.
them.
I'll just hit my donut. I'm sure.
No, but it's like the last few shoots of episode
Are
6.
they-
It's a 6-episode series.
Are they interior shoots?
Oh, can we
What's
give
it?
that away?
Can we get? Well,
How
yeah,
many,
most of
how
it's
many-
interior.
How
I
many people
can
are
reveal-
involved in these shoots? How many characters?
I can reveal that there are characters and there's a
Oh.
location.
Oh wow.
Whoa. Okay, I feel
Damn.
so privileged.
There's
to know that
actually
now.
like multiple locations used in the show.
You heard it here first. I'm provisionally approved.
Approved, yeah. Don't go away.
I'm like gonna get fired by my boss right after this
Your
because I
boss?
gave away way too much.
Oh, okay.
Well, see, the fun part is you're not my boss on this show anymore because we've got Justin producing, but I'm still your boss on the Ascenders.
I do miss the thrill of power of knowing I can get rid of any one of you.
Oh, it's great. It's a great position of power, isn't it? Just knowing that you could just fire anyone immediately.
Exactly. And I can just end with like, look, your time on the show was provisionally approved.
Oh wow.
Oh,
I've
well
been-
done.
You've been saving that one.
that's worse than
It's
the
like
weakest link.
almost-
Honestly, like I'm just imagining this guy as Cornelia Francis.
Oh.
Is that the woman from The Weakest Link?
Yes.
Oh.
I am the weakest link. I'm sorry.
I've been waiting like
she had
2
the whole.
seasons.
I'm not smarter than a 5th grader.
like, is she still around? Because like she was a massive fixture of well, Channel 7, I suppose, when I was younger. I don't know.
I haven't heard of her since.
No,
heard about
what's
her
she
since.
doing these days?
I don't know.
Probably on Instagram.
Something we'll have to Google after this.
Yeah.
She might be working on her next big catchphrase. Who knows?
All these years spent in hiding. He's like, I've got it.
Imagining like a cave with like
Yeah.
a single candle.
Single candle, and there's like parchment everywhere, all with scribbles on them, and she's like leaned over it and like drew it. Basically, that scene in Lord of the Rings with Gandalf, where he's like in the library.
I've realized what's going on here. Slogan.
Slogan.
starts running exams at schools in her spare time, and comes up with the slogan, "No, you're not going to pass." Wait, no, that's already taken. Dang it!
Starts putting herself in all of these like judgment situations, like job interviews and like all these casting things just
for the
to come
thrill.
up with the perfect one.
Just for the thrill of it. That's what an amazing way to spend your time.
That would be awesome.
What would be the perfect catchphrase for someone like that? Like trying to like reestablish the same career all over again.
You wouldn't be able to do it.
No, you can't
She
top.
peaked.
You're the weakest link. No, she peaked. Exactly.
Well, like it still does depend on the show, right? Like
Oh yeah.
if it's a circus one, you could say you're fired and fire them out of cannon or something, or you know, it depends.
That's all I can say. Yeah. Okay. So, 2016. We sort of had the New Year's episode before the New Year's started.
Yeah, so
the New Year's actually here now, and we're
yes.
like this is our first one actually shooting during the New Year. You know, what's sort of the next step for everybody, I suppose.
That's a good question. I'm doing my final year of my creative writing degree, so I kind of have to write a feature film in order to pass.
Feature film.
So I'm going to be working on. I've talked about it in a previous episode before. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, but yeah, I have to fully write it this year and actually finish a script.
Does
for a
everybody
change.
in your degree has to write a feature film?
They can choose to write a feature film, or it could be just it could pretty much be anything you want. So it could be a short film, or it could be like a TV series. Or for someone who's not doing that contextual major, they could be doing a novel or a novella or something along those lines. So a big major project that amounts to 10,000 words. So I have to figure out how much that amounts to in a screenplay, because it's not in words, it's in pages. So that could be like 90 pages, 120 pages, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be working on that for the majority of the year and still doing side filming projects. So that'll be me.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be. And very stressful, I imagine. So
Well,
if I come back with grey hairs, that's why.
well, yeah. You said it was like your first sort of full.
First full screenplay. Like I've written a bunch of short films and I've written little one-act plays and all that sort of stuff. I'm actually writing a play at the moment as well, because I can never concentrate on anything for more than a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be my first major project that I've ever undertaken. So it'll be fun and stressful and quite the education, I reckon.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like a feature-length screenplay, that probably will take the best part of the year.
Yeah, it will for sure. So
Do you have like? Would you want to make it after?
I would love to make it because, well, I don't know, I'm kind of delving into my secrets, but I kind of got the inspiration for the film through well, not a writing competition, but like a filmmaking competition called One Shot.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's been around. It's like you see it on Facebook every so often. And so I clicked on it, and it's this competition over in America where filmmakers submit a like 5-page screenplay, and then and 3 people get picked. They get flown over to LA. They meet the crew that runs the competition and Kevin Spacey, who's one of the co-founders and all that sort of stuff. So you get to meet Kevin Spacey, talk to him about your movie, and then you get to direct the movie with an actor that they've chosen for that year. So for like 3 years straight, it was Willem Dafoe. So it was like, if you write a really good screenplay, we'll fly you over to America and you get to direct Willem Dafoe in your own movie.
Wow.
And one of the years it was Adrian Brody. And because because the competition's funded with a whiskey brand, and over there the age limit's like much older. Like you had to be 25 to enter, and I was 19 or 18 at the time when I found out about it. I'm like, oh, damn it, I would have loved to have done it. And then I asked myself, if I could write a film for Adrian Brody, what would I write? And then I came up with the idea, and I've been writing it ever since. So every time I'm working on it, I picture Adrian Brody in my film. So that's my ultimate goal, get to direct Adrian Brody.
Okay.
Nice.
Would you make it a short first, or you'd make it a feature?
You'd
You'd have to finish it first, I guess.
I have to finish it first. I'm going to have to draft and redraft. I might even make it a short first and see where it goes.
Yeah.
But then
I feel like that's a thing that
yeah.
people do.
That's probably what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the interesting thing of everything you just said now was like you gave the option of a short film and then went for a feature instead.
Yeah, I'm a little
It's like-
overambitious. That's always been my problem.
It's great. It's great. It's a good thing to do while you're learning, while you're at
Yeah.
uni.
Because I've
Why
always,
not?
because I've got a bunch of short film ideas on the side, and I'm constantly like looking back at those and working on those different things. But this is like my top of the mountain sort of project. So
Great.
yeah. Anyway, enough about me. Back to the donut. I'm sorry.
Well, so we've got two members of the board here. Yeah, the, RMITV board, the RMITV's board. Yeah, I was just about to ask, like, okay, obviously there will be lots of things that you're not allowed to tell us, but what's happening what's sort of on the cards for RMITV this year that you are allowed to tell us?
Well, I'm not sure if it's public knowledge, but we're getting into pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics.
We're going to set fire to stuff.
Yes.
Well, okay.
Count me in. There we go.
We have experience in this, I think.
Oh,
Actually, that was the inspiration. We were all sitting there going,
that
what do we do
accidental
this year?
fire you made
And we
really, yeah, got us going. We thought we need to do this on purpose more often.
thought the chairman was looking
Exciting.
at that and going, I could do better than that. And we just tried.
And you know what?
knew?
It worked.
Yeah, we're going to develop a pyrotechnics committee.
Yeah.
We'll be designing fireworks this year.
Yeah.
It's a
We
risk, but I
start-
think it'll pay off.
I think we're starting with red, right?
Yes, red.
Then blue,
Yeah.
then white.
White, yeah.
And then maybe if you're really ambitious, magenta.
Ooh, we hadn't thought of that, but I'll bring it up next meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Important stuff.
This is important.
This is one of those situations where I can't quite tell if you're messing with me or not.
Why would we do that?
Look, we all heard the fire alarms going off around the city. I'm sorry, we might have messed
Yeah.
Um,
No, this year's going to be a good one, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
They've all
Yeah.
been great years.
well, they've all been good years, but it's just a matter of like, oh,
Every year with
you know,
RMITV is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be good. What can we say?
I don't know. Like, we basically, the questions we were facing is how much more training opportunities can we give and how do we give them? And I think we answered pretty dang well.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
We're going to, yeah, so there'll be a new training. Well, we're working on a new training program that we will hopefully implement soon.
Good.
Um,
Hoping to keep it broad and sort of like,
yeah.
if you need to learn something, we'll have the facilities to teach you.
Yes.
that's the dream.
This is all, we're in early days, so I don't want to, like, tell you that we're going to do this and this and this and nothing happens.
Obviously,
Yeah.
But that's one of our goals.
Nice. We're also kind of in a transition period this year as well, aren't we? Because we've got Channel 31 losing its broadcast license at the end of the year. So after that, we'll be like 100% online.
Well,
Damn.
not really.
No?
So the leak was broadcast to Perth, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so,
But
Perth's
Perth's
gone.
community, all the community stations across Australia are going at the end of this year.
Aurora will still exist?
It will.
Yeah.
So we might be broadcasting on television still, maybe.
So the opportunities are there, and
Okay.
the $1 million question is, how do you approach it? I mean,
We'll still be creating media of all kinds.
yeah.
Yeah,
not
of course.
just not
Yeah.
just TV, not just video, but it will probably be predominantly video, as that's what we're good at. But I feel like it'd be good to branch out more this year. Just give people the opportunity to make whatever kind of media they want to make.
Well, that's actually news to me that we do actually have other options TV wise.
Yeah. Well, the Sally Ann show was broadcast on Aurora.
Of course it was.
And so was
Yeah.
Melbourne Q
Tough times.
and Tough Times. So we've got a tie with Aurora from that. That's all we're
good.
saying.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Let's leverage that. How do we leverage that? How do I
It also
personally
depends on the
leverage that?
producers of the shows. Like, who does anybody want to broadcast on TV? We have to like,
Yeah.
who wants to broadcast on? Yeah,
So a big part of it is we don't want to explicitly tell anyone.
you have to
Yeah.
do this. Yeah.
It has to be, hey, you want to produce your content with us? Here's how to produce it. Here's how to work the camera. Here's how to act in it, and take it from here. Let's see what we can do with this.
It'll be interesting to see how the year pans out because I've for one of the RMITV productions that are coming up this year, I've been kind of logged on as a director, so it'll be interesting to see like the changing obvious formats because of obviously the Cuts to Community. It'll be interesting to see where the work goes and all that sort of stuff. It's probably going to go online because I don't want to say too much, obviously, but it's comedy sketch sort of material, so it'll be interesting to see if it's going out on TV or it'll probably go out online and all that sort of stuff. But it'll be interesting to see where we get our new material out.
Can you say which production?
It's in RMITV. It's a sketch comedy show. That's all I can say, really. And it's written by writers who have an interesting perspective in society. That's all I'm going to say.
I know which one, and I really want to talk about it.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about though.
And I understand.
Are we
allowed to talk about it? Yeah, because they sent out the email not too long ago saying we need producers, we need directors, and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, you're on our list of directors. Here are the scripts and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. I obviously can't do the first set of scripts because I'm getting my wisdom teeth out when they start. And I can't come in and direct a bunch of people when I have bruises on my face. So, so I'll do the next set. But yeah, maybe later when we actually start shooting it, I can talk about it more openly because it's going to be really, really fun, I reckon. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds very
Sorry,
exciting.
being very elusive and giving away no details.
I'm just going to say I'm super excited about it. Like looking through that crew call, I kind of wish I'd signed up to it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I'm loving the fact that I started this episode with a thing about Star Wars.
And we've talked about no.
And then all of a sudden, we're talking about all this other stuff that we're like, oh, hang on, we can't talk about that. And it's got nothing to do with spoilers. It's just that, it's in like little internal workings that we're like not allowed to reveal and all that sort of stuff. It's just, I mean, we've all got them.
See, part of me would be really interested to have an episode where like 3 people have seen something, and I know you guys have all seen 7, right?
Yeah.
Seen
Star Wars 7.
Oh yeah. This
No?
one, yeah. You're not a Star Wars fan.
Here we go.
Well, so I've got the, what would you call them? The first 3 episodes, the old
Prequel.
ones.
Oh, so there's the
Maybe
classics.
3, 4,
There's the original trilogy.
5.
There's
I
the
mean,
prequel.
4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6. I've got
Okay.
them sitting at home, ready to watch. I haven't watched them.
Yeah.
And
Be
I have
prepared
to-
for the best time of your
and
life.
then, okay, all right. and then I'll watch the one that just came out.
Yeah.
So,
Good choice.
yes.
But I'd love to have an episode where it's 3 people who know something and 1 person who doesn't, and those 3 people trying not to spoil it. Because it's like,
So you're wanting to test this out on the day, aren't you? You're wanting to test
no.
this out right now.
genuinely curious. Like,
That
I
would be
know,
interesting.
I pretty much know what happens in 7. Everyone's
Yeah, you
given
haven't
it away.
seen 7. Okay.
I know what happens.
Yeah.
I could
Oh,
spoil
so
it.
you haven't seen it, but you know what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was an article title that was one of the major plot points
Oh no.
and saying why it was important.
That's why you have to I think Google did it, but you can input something in Google that prevents you from seeing Star Wars spoilers, and it would be like,
Wow.
there's a spoiler here. Better turn away from this page. I'm like, thanks Google.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, and I wish I had that. But I was lucky enough to see the movie within like the first 3 days.
Oh, well done.
So yeah, I didn't have anything spoiled for me. But
I feel like, sorry, I'm interrupting you.
That's
no.
I feel like
go
some
ahead.
of the, the benefit of not having watched any Star Wars is that even if someone did spoil something in front of me, it probably wouldn't mean anything to me, so I'd forget it instantly. And so I think I should probably just watch those DVDs I have at home, and then immediately after actually watch the latest one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
would
fair.
be a good way of doing it, I think. I've just decided.
I've been working myself up to like watching 7. I know I'm going to do it like sometime this weekend, if not Monday, Tuesday. And so I did watch through all 6.
Oh.
And it's good to watch them separately. Because
Why?
Here it comes.
there was...
Oh,
What?
no. What's
No.
happening?
No. Okay, sorry. No, I thought you were. Never mind. Keep going.
We can get into it.
Oh.
We can.
Oh.
They were filmed literally decades apart.
Yeah.
And so episode 4, 5, and 6, while they hold up narratively and like everything in them is awesome, it was filmed in like the 80s and 90s, right?
It was 70s,
Oh,
80s.
70s, 80s.
70s, 80s,
So-
and then the 90s, early 2000s.
Was the prequels. It was late 90s, early 2000s.
I
Yeah.
saw one of the prequels when I was like 4 years old in the cinema. but I don't remember anything from that.
Yeah.
Episode 1 was actually my first. I saw that, because what was it, 1999? I would have been like 11 or something. Yeah, I know, I'm old, right?
I keep forgetting, and then I keep getting reminded.
That's okay.
But yeah, like I remember walking like because one of my closest friends at the time was really into Star Wars. Like, you know, he'd read all the books. You know, he was he sort of knew all the fan theories, and he was younger than me. He was like 10, and he was just like 100% like he was always sort of like, you know, just dropping random facts from the expanded universe that just made no sense to the rest of us.
And then
so
you took it on and did Gorrie facts, right?
Yeah, totally. And so of course, you know, like I knew sort of a bunch of the key names and all that sort of stuff. And so when I walked into episode 1, I was just like, hang on a tick. Like, there's
Where's everyone?
like everything that I know about this just isn't applying. Like, what is this? Where's this Luke Skywalker guy that I'm supposed to know about? Like,
I'd love that sort of existential crisis when you walk in and you realize that everything is wrong. Where's Darth?
Wait, no.
But see, I went in there knowing nothing about Star Wars except for a few key words.
And you
right?
walked out knowing less.
And I walked out knowing less. I was just like, what the heck was that? Like, it was fun. I liked it. At the time, I liked Jar Jar. I mean, 'cause,
no.
you know, like I was the target audience, basically.
Fair enough.
And yeah, and then I just had no idea what I just watched. It was just like, okay, that was fun, but what?
See, I was that like 10-year-old who was addicted to the books. Like, a little bit of backstory. I sucked at reading when I was a kid, and so the teacher kind of overprescribed me on reading material, and so I got really good at reading really quickly. And I found one of those Star Wars books, and they're like this thick, and I was like, I could try. Went through it, and then just didn't stop. I had entire bookshelves filled with those books.
Wow.
And so I knew everything, and I hadn't even seen some of the movies. Like
that's pretty impressive. Like that's like I don't even know what to compare that to. I don't have a comparison.
Like I read the third Lord of the Rings book before I saw the movie.
Again, that's lots of people did that in the like 50 years between the books coming out and the movies.
No, like I was a kid and my parents wouldn't let me see the movie because it was too gory.
Too gory and too
Really?
scary.
Yeah.
Too gory, did you say?
Too gory.
That's not how you pronounce my name.
We're doing puns today.
It's too gory.
Wait, how old were you
I don't know.
when you read the books?
It was 8, 9, 10 years ago, so I would have been 9 or 10.
Damn.
Wow.
Well done.
I just gave away my age. Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
I was still stuck. I was still on the easy stuff. I was still on Harry Potter.
Ah.
Yeah, I was.
See, I couldn't stand Harry Potter until I saw one of the movies, and I got addicted.
Yeah.
So I was just literally in 3 separate places. I don't know which direction to go from here. Like,
Do all of them.
Are we
All of them at
talking about
once.
franchises? Are we talking about long form narrative? Are we talking about
We're talking about long form franchises.
long form franchise?
Well, like, we've all seen Harry Potter, right?
We have
We
all
all
seen Harry
have,
Potter.
yes.
Have we all read the books?
Yes.
No.
Oh,
I've
get
read
out. I'm just
like like my dad did something really weird. He bought me like the second book, and then like I think it was the 6th book, The Order of the Phoenix. Is that the 6th one?
That's
Like later on, like a few
That's
years later,
5th.
or 5th.
Yeah.
Like a few years later, and I was just like, what am I supposed to do, Dad? Like, when I read the second book, I was really young, and I just didn't really understand, like, that you had to read the first one, and I just did it, and then I realised later on, oh, I should go back and start
But that's
from the beginning,
the-
but I just never
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing about J.K. Rowling. This was something I recognised when I was older because I addictively read the books over and over again when I was very young. And then I went back to them when I was older. And I'm like, actually, you know, J.K. starts every single book the exact same way. This is Harry. He lives under some stairs. He's a wizard, by the way. And she explains everything over and over and over again in every single book. It's like, I already know what happened. I'm already up to this point. Stop it.
Right. So that would have been good for me, reading from the second book.
Yeah.
I should go back. Like, I have friends of mine who went back, like, being, you know, in their 20s, and read from the beginning. I should do it.
Yeah, I can recognize now they're not, and I'm gonna get some flack from this. They're not the most well-written books, but they're still enjoyable and they still have a really vivid world. And that's something that, I'm going on a completely different tangent now, that's not something that YA books have to get right immediately. So that's something that Hunger Games does well and Divergent does well. They build a really vivid world that you can get sucked into. It doesn't matter if the writing's shit, as long as it has a really diverse open world, you can get sucked into it.
Don't give me that look.
We were talking about this before, and keeping
really?
it vague.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying don't give me that look.
We were talking about basically script elements like dialogue versus world building, which is more important.
That's a really
yeah.
interesting conversation. Yeah.
Character is something that J.K. Rowling gets extremely right, which is what I was about to say before you gave me that look. J.K. Rowling gets character stuff extremely right in
That
the
is
same way
true.
that someone like Moffat gets character stuff. Like the characters are amusing, they're relatively deep and deep
He's
to a degree.
Doctor Who, right?
Yeah,
Doctor Who, Sherlock.
all that sort of stuff. As in, they're flawed and they're lovable and they're like you get all this banter between them of like the little character moments, which honestly that style of writing makes really good sitcom, by the way.
I watched
but-
season. What's the most recent season with Capaldi?
I've kind of dropped off of Doctor Who. I'm not a I've kind of been disappointed.
I started on that season of Doctor Who, and I know people. I'm going to get flack for it, and I already have. Believe me, it's bad.
You're going to get flack from me, whatever it is. I'm just kidding.
I think the Doctor makes no bloody sense as a character.
In what sense?
Think linearly, dude. I mean, I get from episode to episode, there's like probably millions of years that we don't see, but in a single episode, he changes his mind like 6 times and doesn't notice it.
Yeah.
No one else notices it.
Um,
And there's an episode where him and his companion have to make like a life-altering decision, and then it goes one way, and then they reveal that it didn't matter in the first place.
yeah, that's the
Like
part
The
that gets
Simpsons.
me.
The Simpsons does that.
The Simpsons is the Matrix. Continue.
Oh, whoa.
See, this is the part where I'm like, I really liked the new Doctor Who like during the Russell T Davies era, like during Doctors 9 and 10. Like, as soon as Moffat took over, like 11 was fun for a while, but then you sort of start to see through the cracks.
Yes.
Where it's like, okay, Moffat does really good character writing and not much else.
Yeah.
As in, you know, his characters are amusing and kind of relatable,
Yeah.
and like they're fun to be around,
Well-
but nothing makes sense.
Yeah, and he can't carry a plot without having a sudden ridiculous twist to save it.
Yeah,
But I don't think I got that feeling from... he writes Sherlock, right?
Yeah.
I didn't get that feeling from Sherlock. I
Didn't you?
love
Yeah.
Sherlock. It's linear. Sherlock sticks to his guns.
No,
Yeah.
see, seasons 1 and 2 of Sherlock were good. Season 3, you start to see those cracks where Moffat's kind of gone, okay, like I'm enjoying this so much, like let's have some fun with it and like, you know, play around with some fan service and stuff. The entire first episode of season 3 was literally just insane fan fiction.
Oh, that's so true. Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and it was
that's
like,
right.
okay, you know, they lampshaded it, but that doesn't make it like, that doesn't really fix it.
I feel like they lampshaded it well, though.
What does
Like,
lampshade mean?
they tinted it in a way that it doesn't look like what it is.
No.
Right?
It's that thing where they lampshading is when you take any trope and sort of like you sort of draw attention to and sort of openly recognize what's going on screen. So for example, like the example in question here is like basically there's all these sort of dream sequences about like what happened at the end of season 2, and then like after the second or the third one, it's just sort of cut back to reality where like there's this random woman basically explaining to one of the minor characters that like that has to be what happened, and they're like exchanging theories and all that sort of stuff, and it's just like, okay, great. So the show is a fan of itself now.
Yeah, it's like it's like Moffat recognized that there was a really huge, primarily Tumblr audience, and then he kind of integrated it into the show, and I'm like, that needs to be outside.
But I feel
Yeah, it's
like
like
we've
it's
got-
kind of fun,
Yeah.
but that's spin-off material. That shouldn't be part
Yeah.
of the main. Yeah.
I feel like we got good character development or a good example of what the characters think through that, though. Because each of the characters treated his death in a different way. And
Yeah.
like one of the characters we see who was like really sort of a stickler for rules and not really following Sherlock's lead, we see him go crazy in Sherlock's absence.
That is true.
And
yeah.
through him trying to find a universe in which Sherlock is alive, we get more of that character. So I don't really mind it in that sense. I thought you were talking about when Sherlock is blatant. Has everyone seen Sherlock?
I was just about to ask you, have you seen
No.
Sherlock?
No, so I think I've seen like, I don't know, I've only seen maybe like the first three or something. I don't know. But when you talk about his death, like I know what that means. Like when he, like at the end of the season.
Yeah.
He,
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, almost. Like it looked like he died, but I don't know what happened after then.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
I'm
really a
not
spoiler
really-
'cause it's part of the folklore.
I mean,
Yeah, true.
am I going to watch it? I want to, but there's so much I want to watch, and like it doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
So I guess part of him coming back,
Okay.
he comes back. You
Yeah.
know that
Of
because
course,
there's a
'cause the show
season
goes
2
on,
and there's
yeah.
a season 3, and he's on all the posters.
Yeah.
But the way they had him come back, there was like this whole thing of him trying to reintroduce himself. Like, what's that conversation of, hey, you thought I died, we're like best buds. Sorry.
But I'm alive.
Yeah.
Soz.
And it's like, what, a year, 2 years later or
2 years. It's 2 years
Okay.
later.
2 years
Yeah.
later. Literally 2 years.
Literally. 2 years.
And that's basically what happens in the original Sherlock story.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So that part isn't really like a massive twist or anything. It's more just sort of like how Moffat and Gatiss actually like sort of explore that.
But I liked it because that set the tone for everything else. Those fan theories, they come sort of after it, except for Crazy Dude, where they're like, yeah, so he is alive and he's being really glib about the way he died. How did he do this? If he'd been all mysterious about it, they would have gone, okay, I guess it's Sherlock. But he's like, mustache and
He's like, work this out. I like work this out. I dare you. It's a puzzle for you. Yeah, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Which I mean, it's basically just like I feel like it sort of comes a little bit too sort of self-referential at that point though, where it's like it's kind of like the show's worshipping itself. But we've kind of gotten a little off topic here though from the
no spoilers.
No spoilers.
No, not for the because we got to this via like a thing about character versus world building,
Yeah.
which is kind
That's
of the original
right.
point.
Yeah.
I was gonna have donut.
But yeah, basically, like, you know, you can sort of see that, like, that you know, Moffat sort of cares a lot more about the characters being, you know, amusing and relatable than an actual plot, because otherwise, you know, you wouldn't be throwing in those Deus Ex Machina solutions. Sorry, too much terminology. Last minute fix that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Cutting to the chase, the argument we were having before is kind of sort of the thing you've mentioned about J.K. Rowling, where she builds an amazing world, but some of her dialogue and some of the things that happen are a bit like
Iffy. Yeah.
So-
I agree.
I guess what I've always enjoyed in a movie, like the thing I look for is the world building. I've seen action movies wherein there's a single moment that builds more world than anything else in the entire movie. And I love that movie for that brief second. And so we were talking before about a series that I have an opinion on that he doesn't like.
Ooh.
It was Star Wars.
Episode 3 is the best of the series. I haven't seen 7, but I think that
Okay.
because it builds the world, and I think it's the same reason that Harry Potter was so good. It builds the world.
Well, yeah. See, this is the one thing that I did actually really like about the prequels and all the politics and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that
like,
was one thing I can agree on. Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
I mean, people, you know, completely blasted it for all the political stuff because apparently, quote unquote, boring. But that's the stuff that actually makes the whole sort of undercurrent of the story as a whole actually sort of work. Like, as in, you know, the original trilogy, you didn't really need the politics for that because it was sort of like...
It was very much black and white.
It was very black and white, and, you know, you have sort of small pockets of people who are completely cut off from contact with other people other than, like, you know, say the Empire chasing them through an asteroid belt. You know, so that works, that makes sense. But during the prequel trilogy, you know, this is before the Empire, before any, you know, sort of, well, you know, while sort of the sort of big conflicts are developing, and, you know, during peacetime, everything's very sort of interconnected, right? You've basically got, what's the galactic equivalent of globalization? You've got that. But the whole the problem that I have with the prequels. This is something that was pointed out to me recently. I'm really sad that I didn't come up with this myself, but they missed a huge opportunity to turn the whole black and whiteness of the original trilogy completely inside out. All the elements are there because you've got, sort of Anakin coming into the Jedi Order, as an 8-year-old-ish. He's 8 at the time, right? Something like that.
He's a small human.
He's a small human, and he's older than 6, and he's younger than 10. But basically, like, there's this whole thing about the Jedi, like, not taking on anyone who's older than a certain age because by then they've learned, things like anger and all that sort of stuff. And when you think about it, taking kids at a really small age and, like, sort of teaching certain things out of them like that's kind of indoctrination. You've got that set up. You've got this whole thing where, Anakin is supposed to bring balance back to the Force, via this big prophecy. You've got the fact that the Jedi are really entrenched and basically rule they're not in charge of the Senate, but they have a lot of influence, and they're basically they're basically on top, really. And yet, what you have in Episode 3 is just this, Episodes 2 and 3, basically, is Anakin just sort of stumbling from one action to the next, with absolutely next to no cognition of what he's doing. And then finally, you've got that line in Episode 3 where, according to him, the Jedi are evil. We don't see why, other than the fact that he doesn't get to be with, what's her name, Padme.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's his only motivation. He's just an angry teenage boy. Okay, great.
Pretty much.
What we could have had would have been actually seeing the Jedi being sort of the extreme regime at that point. Like, it'd be subtler, but it'd be there in the sense that they're indoctrinating kids. They're so entrenched that they wouldn't even be able to see where they're going wrong. And sort of at that point, you have Anakin come in who wasn't indoctrinated from an early age, who can actually see through this stuff. And at that point, you sort of have him sort of realizing, well, hang on a tick. This extreme is bad, let's explore the other thing. And then, of course, in the original trilogy, you have, okay, the extreme, sort of domination and control, that's bad too. But he hasn't seen that yet. And then you have balance, like actual balance.
Okay.
I understood all of that.
I'm sure you did.
I really don't want to do it because you're not.
I could leave for a second.
Have a donut.
It's like I don't know how to. I can. You
had an argument against this before, and
I still do.
Yeah.
I just.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we can talk about
You
something
need to enjoy
else.
this movie.
All right.
Okay. Don't look at the surface when you watch Star Wars, the original trilogy. Everything in that movie has a cause and effect. What he said about indoctrinated children comes into play, Episode 3, during a scene that not many people thought made sense.
Okay.
Master.
Oh, yeah.
Why are the blah, blah, blah?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. That scene.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Do you?
Maybe.
It could,
Should I be laughing
It was
if I'm
pretty
thinking of the right
ambiguous.
scene?
Yeah,
You
totally
shouldn't.
ambiguous.
But everything in that movie and everything you said comes around full circle. Especially because
It does, but
if you want to talk
don't-
about him being a whiny child, rewatch Episode 4.
Yeah. Luke is exceptionally whiny.
He's a whiner.
Yeah, he's. Oh my. It's just,
Because Obi-Wan wasn't a prepared mentor.
No.
When Obi-Wan steps into Luke's life, Luke shuts the fuck up and starts getting shit done.
Yeah.
Like, we start seeing him going like, he goes from Arnie person I forget name of who turns into skeleton. Sorry. But we see a character development that we don't get in Anakin because someone has learnt to be a mentor.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this on a later episode. And I will destroy you.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, you've got time to prepare now.
No, I can do it right now if you want.
Okay. Well, I've got time to prepare then because I haven't seen these movies in forever.
Yeah.
There should be a Star Wars episode of
There should
Provisionally
Star
be,
Wars
yeah.
spoiler cast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll have
and
seen
maybe
7.
you shouldn't be invited. Otherwise, you just sit here
Well,
awkwardly
I'll watch
silent.
them before then,
Yeah, watch
maybe.
this.
Well,
If you
Just
watch
sit here
all
with
of
some
them.
popcorn. Like,
I feel like we need to start actually preparing stuff in advance.
Maybe
for
we
this.
should.
Oh,
We
well,
can have themed episodes. Yeah.
Well, not even necessarily sticking rigidly to a theme, but just like sort of like having having sort of one or
Pre-prepared
two
arguments
pieces
to come to the battle with.
yeah,
We're
one or two
prepared.
pieces of sort of
Prepared.
just like
we brought
sort
out
of common grounds
pyrotechnics.
to what?
We brought the pyrotechnics. I mean, what have you guys done? Where's your preparation?
You didn't. Okay, where
Well-
are the pyrotechnics? Where's
Yeah,
the
Jack,
where's
where
the
are
fire?
the fireworks?
You
I can't
heard
back
the
that up.
fire alarms. You smelled.
Oh, that.
Oh, I
those
left them.
fire alarms.
I left them somewhere. Let me get
wait,
them.
Wait, that fire alarm the other day, was that the pyrotechnics?
Yeah, that's what he was.
Are we meant to
talking
talk about it?
No.
Look,
No.
it was an accident-ish.
Wow.
And no
okay,
one got
I
hurt
thought
badly.
You were talking about, I
The
thought
hospital was only called once.
We're in a web of
Twice.
lies.
You know.
You know, numbers are kind of a thing.
No.
numbers like 80?
6.
Oh.
86. That's what it was.
Was it 86?
86
What is
casualties. I'm sorry. No,
no.
one's dead.
Building 80, the Ascenders very nearly set
Oh, Building
80 on
80.
fire.
Oh,
I see, I
yeah,
see.
we are.
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah.
what the 80 meant.
Yeah, I was still talking about
sorry.
the board's plans to blow up everything.
Yeah, no, I actually thought you were talking about the Ascenders. No, like we didn't intend for there to be any fire. It was just a light went up.
Yeah, I was aware that we were talking about pyrotechnics and the Ascenders. It was very cryptic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah.
No. The best part of that was like finding out about it because I get a Snapchat. I saw the screenshot.
You found out via Snapchat.
Yeah,
What did it say?
just
What was the
Fire.
photo of?
It just said, there's a fire.
yeah.
That was
From
all
who?
it said.
From Gorrie.
No,
'Cause, like-
it was one of the actors who was on set at the time. I'm not gonna go into any
don't need
names
names.
of people
But-
who were involved other than me.
It was
But-
really
It
cool
happens.
because
Yeah.
the reactions of different people were like on point. You know, people went to turn off the lights and people went for the fire extinguishers, and it was like a really professional response. But there was a Snapchat taken of it.
Always the one Snapchat, because you want to watch it back later, don't you?
Well, look,
To reminisce.
it's a moment that lives warm in our memories.
Oh, don't even.
Fun episode.
Remember what we said at the start of the episode about not doing puns?
Did we say that?
We said
You
do it.
made a pun.
I made a pun.
I said do it.
Yeah, it was do not make puns. Yeah.
Do not make-
Admittedly, it wasn't the best example to set for not doing puns.
Gorrie. We're very impressionable. Don't set bad examples.
Yeah.
Gorrie is sorry.
Is Gorrie sorry?
Sorry, Gorrie.
I worry.
Let's not
about you,
turn
Gorrie.
this into a Dr. Seuss. I can't take it. I can't take
I need to
it.
stop. I'm stopping. It's off. Because it could go on for a long time. Now I'm just thinking of words that rhyme with Gorrie.
But no, the whole Star Wars conversation
Laurie?
before that, we were on character versus world building, and the fact that
Yes, let's talk
the fact
about
that
Should we talk about the new Dory movie?
Gorrie. Oh yeah, that fish.
Dory,
Yeah.
what? Oh,
Finding.
oh, that was
Keep
that
it up,
actually
keep it
had
up.
me confused for several seconds.
You've been left behind, my friend.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, obviously, I don't pay as much attention to Disney.
Oh,
as
well,
I
if you
should.
don't catch up, you'll be sorry.
Oh.
We've been there. We've been there. We've had that one.
She
I'm
does
sorry.
replace me.
Come in, Linda.
No, but there was the character versus world building
Yes,
thing
let's actually
where
talk
like
about
we've got people like JK and Moffat who focus entirely on the character stuff and they just like screw the world building basically.
Actually, I think going back to Dory and Nemo, I think that's a movie that's purely character driven.
I agree.
We don't see anything in that world. Like
No.
there's no
In
linear.
which movie?
Finding
Nemo?
Nemo.
Oh.
Finding Dory.
you
Because
that
we're
one?
saying Dory and it's
Yeah,
actually
Finding
Dory.
Nemo. I've seen.
Yeah. I have to
So-
agree, that's entirely character driven because it's just their journey and the world isn't expanded or explained or anything. It's just a backdrop purely.
Yeah, there's not even like an explanation of where they've been. It's just like, this is point A, here's point B, forget this. Here's some cute characters who are fish, by the way.
By the way, lol.
Yeah, which is fine because like that's not a story that's about about a world. Whereas like in the case of things like Doctor Who and like Harry Potter, it's like the world is kind of a draw card, so that's kind of important.
Yeah. So in the books, Harry Potter there isn't much world description.
There's a lot.
There is quite a lot because
a little too much.
It goes.
Well, then
I feel like with the Potter series, it goes into tiny details more than bigger world details.
Yeah.
Same with the Game of Thrones series. That guy describes food. And then he describes food again.
So I really want to continue this conversation, but sadly this is all we've got time for. So this has been Provisionally Approved, and I have been and still am Mike Gorrie.
I have been and always will be Jess.
I am Karen.
I don't know why I'm Jack Worthington.
Thanks for listening in, and we'll see you next week.
Or you'll see us. Like, we don't watch you.
Not that you know of.
Speak for yourself. Hey, I hope you like what you just saw. If you don't, then feel free to ignore this completely. But if you do, then check out the links below.